Hello and welcome back to Jacket Talk. I'm Alex Jones. Alongside me is Nick Rizzo.
How you guys doing today?
And we're going to get into a little discussion about March Madness. Upsets on upsets on upsets. That's the name of this tournament. What do you think? What's the biggest upset you think you've seen so far in the tournament?
Well, if you tuned in last week, you saw my bracket is awful, to say it nicely. Yeah. So I thought the biggest upset was, well, my champion going out first round.
Yeah, Michigan State going up against Middle Tennessee.
That was just, it happens every year. It seems like a big contender just takes either the game lightly or not ready for it. They thought, oh, we're a Final Four team. We don't have to worry about this 15 or 16 seed.
I feel like every year there's always the 15 seed that comes in and proves like they belong in the tournament, they belong here. We're still waiting on, obviously, the 16 to be the one to knock off the one. And I know you said last week it was going to be Florida Gulf Coast, and I wish they had a better scene because I love seeing them in the tournament.
They were there for a half.
They were there for a half, and you got to show up for both halves of the game.
Exactly.
You can't be there for one. So I would say my biggest upset would have to be, obviously, West Virginia, being from there, going up against Stephen F. Austin. And, you know, my bracket's completely done. I'm in the 46th percentile, but when my champion...
Nice.
My champion out first round of the tournament. You know, it's not looking too good after that. So, I mean, watching that game, it was tough to see. Stephen F. Austin is a great team. I mean, they led the country in steals for a reason. They press, and they know what they're doing.
Beat West Virginia.
Yeah, they out West Virginia, basically. They were the unsung heroes. And, I mean, you look at walk-up for Stephen F. Austin. The man played out of his mind.
Insane.
Even versus Notre Dame played a great game.
And that was a heartbreaker the other night, too.
Oh, I know. Seeing that
last tip. I always go for the underdog, especially when my bracket's busted.
I hate seeing them going out like that. I think I would rather see them go farther than Notre Dame, but
yeah,
you know, it's just the way it goes. But this was without a doubt one of the craziest March Madnesses I've seen.
You could have
not my entire lifetime. Exactly, It could be the best first weekend ever.
I'm up there with it. You know,
you have
20 years of my life. You know, remember 15 of them probably, and I can't think of one better.
Yeah, I mean,
Lehigh beating Duke was awesome. We had that with Michigan State, Middle Tennessee.
Yep. And you even got some other schools. Just the first round basically belonged to the lower seeds.
Yep.
They were the ones coming out with all the victories.
2 teams got their first win ever in the NCAA tournament.
Yale and Hawaii. Yep, the Rainbow Warriors pulling it off, and same with the Bulldogs.
Yeah, it was something else to see. You know, it's always nice with those underdogs to come in and upset a powerhouse. Yeah. It's nice to see. I mean, that's what the tournament's all about.
Yeah, you have 3 buzzer beaters already. There's only been 3, the most ever in a tournament, and you already have 3 going in the first 2 weekends. Who's to say there's not going to be more?
Oh, absolutely.
This has been absolutely insane. But you look at the 16 remaining. All these teams have been there before.
Yeah.
All these teams. I don't care what the seed is. Gonzaga and Syracuse are 11 and 10.
Gonzaga is a small school, but they've been there before.
They're here all the time. You got Wisconsin, Notre Dame. Obviously, Wisconsin played in the championship last year, losing to Duke.
You know, that's a pretty good story though. The coach retires halfway through the season.
Yep, randomly.
They were what 1-4 to start Big Ten play.
Yep.
Then they went on the streak.
I mean, look at it. They're ranked 7 in the tournament, and they're still going on. I mean, granted, an unbelievable shot by Bronson Koenig. Unbelievable last-second shot. There's one of the buzzer beaters. I mean, that was probably one of the most talked about and craziest ones. But if I have to pick a buzzer beater, I'm picking Northern Iowa.
Oh, that half-court miracle.
I mean, yeah, I should rep the Big 12 because obviously West Virginia plays that and everything. But they're out. I want all these lower seeds to win.
Exactly. It's just madness.
The lower you are, the more I want you to beat the team ahead of you. I mean, all the number ones are left still. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised. I normally don't see that either. Every single number one. And then there's the talk about Michigan State should have been the number one. They lose first round, so there goes the argument for that. And everybody's down Oregon, but Oregon's playing well. They're moving forward and beating teams. So
they had a close game against St. Joe's there.
They did have a close game versus St. Joe's. I had Cincinnati in that game in my bracket, but
we all know I did.
Yeah. But I mean, going off Northern Iowa, the Texas A&M game. What happened? What happened?
How do you're up? What was it, 11 with 30 seconds to get? Were they celebrating too early?
Something absolutely ridiculous.
It's like you see all these sprinters, like in these track races, you know, or bike races. They put their hands up and celebrate, and the guy zooms right by them.
Yeah,
I think you got a little case of that.
You mean you trip at the finish line?
Exactly.
Almost in a way. I mean,
drop the ball at the 1 yard line.
Hat tip to A&M. They didn't quit.
No,
they played their hearts out, and they're proving they belong.
When coach says play the whistle, you know, 95% of the time you still lose.
That's the most literal sense of play to the whistle I think
Oh.
I've ever seen in any sport.
It was unbelievable. And then it almost ended in regulation, so they put that 3/4 shot up and almost banked it in.
Yeah. I mean, and another upset I want to touch on. I wish this team was still in it too because I fell in love with one of the players. Arkansas Little Rock.
Oh,
Upsetting
yeah.
Purdue.
To that shot. And
Josh
tied
Higgins
oh.
for Arkansas Little
Didn't
Rock.
miss. He looked like
miss.
LeBron, Steph
It
Curry.
looked
out
like
there
college
combined.
Steph Curry. Yeah. The kid had limitless range.
Yeah, shot
It
from the
didn't
logo.
matter. He played the entire game wanting to beat Purdue and got it done. It didn't matter. Some of the shots were absolutely ridiculous. We're talking parking lot, half court, three
Yeah.
balls
The one that tied the game
with a
to
guy in your
overtime?
face.
Oh.
So I mean they lost the next round. It was a good win for that team, but I hate seeing them go. I hate that. I want to talk about Syracuse a little bit too. Syracuse and Gonzaga, 10 versus 11. You know, a lot of people said, "Oh, Syracuse is in the tournament. Why is Syracuse in the tournament?
Coaching.
They don't belong in the tournament." Yeah, I mean,
Coaching.
it does go down to coaching. I
That's-
mean, they were without their coach for 6 games a year,
Yeah.
so that played a part in it. I don't know how many they won or lost, but it had to be.
You know, just dealing without your coach, you know,
Yeah,
that
in
always
general. And then
That's
coming
hard.
live at the end of the year, but they're playing well. I can see them. I can see either team winning that game. I don't really favor Gonzaga or Syracuse.
No, I don't either.
I think it's a toss up for me. Looking at some other ones, UVA and Iowa State. I want to take Iowa State, but
I mean,
UVA
Virginia
is
plays
playing-
that. They play that fundamental basketball. The
They're-
UC, the ACC.
there's something special there. Who do you got? Notre Dame, Wisconsin.
I hate Notre Dame.
So
Wisconsin.
I gotta go Wisconsin. Sorry, Cole. Cole Horan, I know you.
Yeah,
want
sorry,
Notre Dame to
PJ.
win,
You
but-
know.
Let's look at UNC and Indiana.
Oh.
Indiana would be my favorite right now. The way they're playing,
Yogi.
the teams there. Yeah, Yogi Ferrell, one of the best tournament players right now.
He's awesome.
He's taking over games for Indiana.
It
Even
was ins-
Thomas Bryant. The kid
Oh.
is 7 foot, 260.
He's a monster
270,
down
absolutely,
there.
and he can shoot.
Yeah.
You got a big guy.
He went. He went to the free throw line and he.
That's what I was about to
like
say. You
4
have a
straight
7-foot guy. Kentucky's thinking they're going to foul him. He's going to miss all these shots. He's making everyone at the line.
He put the game away.
I
Single
mean, what's your game plan going to be? Everyone on that Indiana team can shoot.
Exactly. I remember the broadcast say, "Yeah, that guy's 60. That guy's 70%,
Yeah.
75%, 88%." It's like, well, can't have
So-
Howard there.
They go up against the Tar Heels, obviously a number 1 seed. That's going to be a hard team to face, but I'm taking Indiana. I have Indiana in that. It doesn't say that in my bracket, but if I could change it, I would pick Indiana over UNC.
I mean, I can't even look at my bracket. I think it's burned somewhere.
You already get rid
Low
of it.
key, yeah.
All right, another look at the South. Kansas, Maryland.
You know, it's again Big 10 versus Big 12
I
know.
A newly Big Ten team.
Yeah.
In Maryland. But they have some outstanding players in Mello Trimble and Diamond Stone.
They do.
But then Kansas has got
Kansas.
55-year-old Perry Ellis. out there
Exactly.
who's been there since Naismith and been in basketball. So
Absolutely. That's.
I mean,
They looked really good this tournament so
Yeah.
far. I think they'd be my favorite to win it. all.
I like Maryland, but I gotta go Kansas in that matchup.
Yeah.
I gotta take the Jayhawks there. And then we got a 2 and 3 seed. I don't know. Villanova, Miami. I didn't have much faith in Miami in my bracket. Otherwise, I really bought in on Wichita.
Yeah.
But then I got Wichita going down to Miami. And if I have to pick one, I'm gonna go Old Big East and I'm gonna take Villanova.
There we go. I mean, Villanova, they hurt me. Like, just watching them in the regular season, they just would blow games.
Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid that they're just not going to come to show up.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, this tournament is so crazy. It's like.
They didn't even win the Big East.
Yeah.
Sure, Seton Hall did.
Yeah, exactly. These
So-
big teams.
But that
come
could be
into the
good in the
tournament
long run,
just-
though.
Yeah,
You lose that game, the hype's gone. You know,
exactly.
who's expecting to win
They
these
became a
games?
2 seed
I had
instead of
them out.
1.
I had them out. And then we'll touch on the last two. We got Duke and Oregon. I got to take Duke. I don't care who Oregon's playing. I don't care about the seed. I have to take Duke. I do not have any faith in Oregon.
I got to go Coach K, too.
You got to
You
get
know,
Coach K.
They
I
won
mean-
it last year.
You look at Duke, the up and down season they've had. They were unranked at one point.
Yeah.
And you have Brandon Ingram, lottery pick for sure.
Yeah.
One of the top players in the
Absolutely,
country.
freshman.
Grayson Allen hitting unbelievable shots.
Yeah, when he's not tripping people.
Right. And then you have the 5th or 6th Plumlee brother, whichever number that is. The
They
kid's
just
playing like
read
an
him
absolute
there.
monster on the boards.
Yeah.
He's going up and getting everything.
His second half, I think it was his first round.
I don't know how many alley oops I saw them throw to him.
No, it's insane.
The team looked absolutely lost trying to guard Mason Plumlee.
Yeah, they did.
So, and
I mean, just Duke in general. I mean, they've been there before. Even though they're freshmen, the Coach K is going to get them ready to go.
Yeah.
And Oregon, I still don't trust Oregon. They play in the Pac-12. I don't watch
there
them
we
play.
go. Hey, the final one, the big one, the one I'm most excited to see, A&M Oklahoma.
Buddy Hill.
Buddy Hield.
Buddy Hill. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, player of the year in my mind,
Oh.
for sure. I know
The kid's
Simmons is
insane.
eligible, and the kid's probably going to be number 1 overall, but Buddy Hield, is one of the purest scorers I've seen in the NCAA this
Yeah.
year in games.
His shot.
He's just going to go out. I mean, A&M might be riding too high off the comeback from Northern Iowa. I don't know how. I mean, versus Kentucky, I watched them play. Kentucky looked like the better team. Kentucky's out, A&M's in. So you just got to play the cards you're dealt. But yeah, I got to go Oklahoma there. And out of the 16 teams now, who do you think's taking it home? I know I originally had West Virginia, UConn as my upset bracket, but neither of those teams are in it, so I can't say that. But looking at the teams left in the field,
I got to go Kansas.
you got to go
The
Kansas.
Jayhawks.
The Jayhawks.
They invented
You
basketball.
can't
They're
go
gonna win
wrong with the Big 12 here because you got Oklahoma, Iowa State, and Kansas. There's the 3 Big 12
I
teams
agree.
left in there. But
it. Absolutely.
when I'm
agree.
looking at
they were the
this-
best conference this year,
Yeah.
I think.
when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the match, and I'm looking at teams. I'm going Indiana. I'm going the ghost team. the
I'd be happy.
Hoosiers.
That's Big
I
Ten.
would love to see the Hoosiers win.
Big Ten.
The way they play is so aggressive. Somebody else has to match their intensity and match their heart.
You're right.
But that's kind of getting into the NCAA tournament. I'm sure everybody's brackets aren't looking the best right now, unless you're, I don't know what kind of
30 percentile.
Yeah. But now we're going to move on to Cleveland Sports Talk with Eric Dalton and Peter George. So, coming at you.
All right, guys, welcome to The Buzz. My name is Eric Dalton. I'm sitting here with the beautiful Peter George. How you doing today?
Doing great. How you feeling?
I can't complain. It's a beautiful day outside.
Amen
So
to that.
let's dive right into it. Let's talk a little Cleveland Browns. Seems to be the most popular team in town, no matter what they're doing. It could be a dumpster fire. They could win, maybe lucky, 5 games, and we're still talking about them all year round.
Well, fat attitude, yeah.
Yeah. So reading some tweets out there about Joe Thomas. People say he's staying. People say he's going. Brown said one of their tweets that he's not going anywhere. How much do you buy that?
I love Joe Thomas. He's probably one of the greatest offensive tackles in NFL history. Surefire Hall of Famer. I really hope he gets a ring. I really hope it's in Cleveland. I don't think it will be. I think if you can get a first-round pick from him, I'm not talking about like a late first round. I'm talking about maybe something around the 20s, like 19, 20, 21. I might actually do it.
I would agree with you on that.
Mhm.
He's an aging lineman. Yeah, he's still got a little bit left in the tank, but if we can replace him with another first-round offensive lineman, I don't see why he wouldn't pull the trigger on that. Kind of shifting gears here, Josh Gordon. Sometimes we forget about this guy. Not sure how much he can produce this year. The NFL, they mentioned that they might look at it, the reinstatement upcoming pretty soon. If he comes back, how much impact do you think he's going to have on the team?
I think if you look at Josh Gordon, when he has his head on straight, you saw it in 2013 with Jason Campbell, Brian Hoyer, and Brandon Whedon throwing the passes. He led the NFL in receiving yards. He only played 14 games. He didn't even play a full season.
Right.
Got over 1,600 receiving yards. I don't want to say this kid's Randy Moss, because I believe Randy Moss is the greatest receiver of all time, but he reminds me of Randy Moss.
No, I would agree with that. He's got some speed, got definitely the size. He's going to be a cornerback nightmare for whoever he's up against. I think even being out for a couple years now, or a year or so, he's still going to come in and be able to produce. He might not be like that number 1 guy that we're hoping, but I still think he could be a productive 1,000-yard
And I think-
receiver.
I actually think with Gordon, I think a year away from the NFL would benefit him very, very much. And I think, switching gears a little bit, I think that's what Johnny Manziel should do. I mean, I don't think the team's going to sign him. I think he needs to stay out of the NFL for a year, completely rehabilitate himself, rehabilitate his image, and then have a team like Dallas, Houston, Arizona sign him.
Yeah, I think he's still got a future, but we'll have to see about that. Running back situation, kind of the battle that not a lot of people are talking about going into training camp when in the summer. We've got Duke Johnson, showed some flashes last year. He's got some speed, got good hands. Doesn't really necessarily have the blocking. Then we have Isaiah Crowell, who's more of a power back. However, sometimes he falls into Trent Richardson syndrome, where he can't find the hole, running right into the line. What are your thoughts on the two of them? Who's going to win?
You mentioned Duke Johnson's hands. He actually was second in the NFL for rookies in actual receptions. First was Amari Cooper. And with Duke Johnson, the only thing I'd worry about is his size.
Mhm.
Leaves him more prone to getting injured. But I think in terms of who he compares to in the NFL, he reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. And
I
Darren Sproles
would
is
agree.
having a heck of a career. But with Isaiah Crowell, I'm not a huge fan of him. I agree with you about the Trent Richardson syndrome. But I think if you look at that San Francisco 49ers game late last season, he dominated 49ers. Not granted, 49ers are not that good, but they're
Right.
an NFL team.
Couple win team right there.
Yeah.
So who do you think's winning it? Who's going to be opening or first game starter?
I think it'll be Crowell, but let me ask you this. Would you trade down to number 7 and take Ezekiel Elliott?
Personally, I would not. I think we've already got a nice running back by committee going on right now between Crowell and Duke. I'd rather use that pick on another position player. Shifting gears from the Browns, we got the Indians coming up. We're getting real close to opening day against the Boston Red Sox. We made a couple off-season signings. We didn't get that big bat that everyone always wants. It just wasn't out there. But who do you think from the off-season is going to make the biggest impact this year?
Well, I think it's going to be. I'm not in love with any of the signings, but if I had to say one, I'd probably say Mike Napoli. I think if you look at what he did last season, he had a slow start with the Texas Rangers, but he had a sleep apnea issue, so he had to get surgery for that. You know how that affected him. And when he went to Boston, I think at the trade deadline or whenever he got traded to Boston, he was pretty good. So he's coming off a hot end of the last season, and hopefully that streak continues in Cleveland.
Yeah, he could definitely solidify that middle of that lineup with Santana. He's a guy that can hit 30 home runs if he stays healthy. That's going to be the big thing. Definitely shore up that first base position. I'm going to also say Mike Napoli, but I also want to talk about Rajai Davis. He's an older guy, but he's still got some pop. Definitely has the speed. That's one of the biggest things that the Indians picked up on this offseason was some speed with Uribe, and now Lindor's got speed. Kipnis has some speed.
How much speed does a 50-year-old Uribe have?
50, 40, whatever. He's still got. He looks good so far. I think he's gonna really come in strong.
I think with Rajai Davis, I think one of the main reasons you signed him is because he's had success performing in Progressive Field and against Cleveland Indians.
Right.
And some teams actually do that, and sometimes it works out well, sometimes it doesn't. I think that's one of the reasons why the Indians signed David Murphy away from Texas, and he's not on the team anymore, so that didn't turn out so well. But I like the Rajai Davis signing. I wish we could have gotten a better player, probably spend more money, but we're the Indians, we're not going to do that.
So we've talked a little bit about the Browns. We've talked a little bit about the Indians. Let's talk about the Cavs. We're getting close to the postseason. It's time to start making that push. So, we've been resting some guys recently. I'm not sure how I feel about that because when they're out there, sometimes it doesn't look like they're playing. So it looks like they're getting days off when they're actually playing. Let's talk about LeBron's unfollowing spree that he's got going on.
Because that's news.
Yeah, he's never done anything on Twitter before to make us worry that he's going to be leaving the land and heading packing his bags for South Beach. But what do you make of that? Do you think too much into it?
LeBron does this just to mess with the media. He's been doing it for years. He does it just so the media can talk about something. Like, this is not news. I mean, if you look at what LeBron said recently, he said that if the other teams are not looking out, they said, well, sorry, let me check. He said he was asked about if the other teams are looking at the Cavs' record or just for prowess in general. LeBron said they better be looking out for us or else. And if you have LeBron, he's going into playoff mode. He's going to try to aim for a 6th straight finals appearance.
Right.
The last time that has been done was in 1960s with the Boston Celtics, Bill Russell.
Right.
And actually, if you look at the first game he played after he unfollowed the Cavs, multiple ESPN reporters, Austin Carr, etc., got a triple-double.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
Yeah. Against Denver, it's not a great team, but a triple-double is triple-double.
The only thing that worries me is there was an interview that he did recently when they asked him about the unfollowing, and he seemed to be really off guard. He just kind of stumbled his way through that answer. They asked him the next question. He just kind of mumbled something, and then he's like, next question, and then he said he was done with the interview. That worries me a little bit. I'm not going to try to read into it. Trying to enjoy the ride here. A lot of times, Cleveland fans right now, I feel like we're getting spoiled with all the wins, but it's time to enjoy the ride. We're getting close to the postseason.
And again, it's only a few weeks away, and I think when the postseason comes, good things are going to happen, and God willing, we'll win a national championship or NBA Finals championship.
I hope so. Let's bring one to the land.
Yep.
All right, that's it from us. We're going to bring in the Varsity Jackets now with Alex Jones and Nick Rizzo.
All right. You guys, good luck.
Welcome to Varsity Jackets. I'm Nick Rizzo again.
And I'm Alex Jones.
Spring just started this week, so let's preview the spring sports and just give them an update and see where we're going to go with that.
Sound good?
Let's start with baseball. Heck of a season last year.
Right.
12 losses the whole season. They started off a little slow this year. They're 5-8. They haven't played at home though.
Yeah, I mean that's big with they're bringing in the new field. It's almost ready. It's going to be ready to open soon, so they can start getting their home games. I know they had this Wednesday. This game had to be rescheduled because it wasn't ready. But yeah, they're on the road a lot. Yeah, it's looking different. This team has been absolutely dominant the the past 2 years, making the World Series, making the playoffs again, and starting off 7th ranked in the country. I mean, this team,
Yeah,
even with the struggles now, sitting at 5-8, with the people who manage this team, they're going to get it figured out.
conference play hasn't even
The
started.
conference hasn't even started yet.
That's when you get really into your season.
Right. I mean, and that's where the games are going to matter, and when they need to show up is playing in conference.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, we won the tournament last year, I believe, right?
No.
We came in, we lost
We
the
lost.
championship game.
They did lose. The year before that, won it and
Went to the World Series. So we went 31-12 last year. I mean, that's just
I'd be
awesome.
happy with that. That's a great record.
12-6 in conference. So you would think conference play we suit well.
I mean, yeah, you're winning 50 games or more.
Yeah,
Not
50,
50 games.
500.
Right.
So I feel confident. I mean, we batted 312. The thing that concerns me is we batted 300 last year. We're batting 240.
Yeah.
Like,
The pitching's not getting much run support at the moment right now. I mean, when you look at the wins and losses, the scores and stuff like that, there is some glimpses of dominant pitching, but no run support. You're losing games like 2-1 and 3-1 and stuff like that. And you got to bail your guys out. It's got to be a team effort, and it can't just all be on one guy. So that's where it's starting out now. Conference play is going to roll around. Hopefully, the team comes together and figures out the situation there.
I mean, we're still way early in the season. I mean, they were in Florida for a week.
right.
They're just coming back to Ohio. The
Right.
weather's still cold.
And I think once they get back on their brand new home field, it'll start heating up for them. It'll start clicking, and the runs and the pitching will get figured out coming in with that.
I believe so too. You know, their coaching's there. They're experienced team. They should finish up strong. I have faith. And now we'll move on to the girls in softball.
Softball.
You know, last year they went 14-23.
Right.
Not great, but they're looking to bounce back this year. They're 5-7 already,
Right.
so that they're on track for.
I mean, and that's another team that's coming back from spring break games in Florida.
That's always, you know, that's hard for us. I think.
I think so too, because you're coming from the northern area. You're used to the northern climate. You're used to playing certain teams and playing a certain way. And you go down south and you play all these other teams that are used to that. And I don't know. I mean, they've been doing it for years. They've always done it. And the people, but it's just hard to. There's an adjusting period, and there's not enough time to adjust to your game.
Yeah, exactly. You get
So-
down there. I mean, the time difference is the same, but it's still a different climate. You're not used to that.
Right.
And,
And they haven't had any home games yet either.
no,
I mean, as long as we can win at home, that's going to be the key for both of these teams.
exactly.
You got to win the home games.
We talked about it last week with the basketball teams.
Yeah.
We lacked at home.
Right.
You know, it goes the same for the spring.
Yeah.
I said it last week. You go 500 on the road, 750 at home. It's pretty.
You're there.
It's pretty
You're
good
where you need
season.
to be. I agree with that too. And another thing with softball, they have some dominant pitching.
Yeah,
I mean, Sam Dodswell is unbelievable. I think she even threw a no-hitter down when they were in Florida.
I believe she did.
The other
That-
pitchers are going to have to step up and match what she is doing on the field, and it's another. What are we looking at?
They're batting
batting-wise?
239.
What were they batting last year?
They were batting 284 last year.
284. I mean, granted, that's a full season versus the short that they're going to, but still a
exactly.
drop off. And 239 as a team is not great.
No,
You're not going to be able to help your pitchers much if you're
You
even 250 compared to 230 as a team is huge.
oh yeah,
That's
That's-
2-3 more wins.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that, and you're sitting at a winning record.
You
So you know,
they're the slugging. They were at 10 home runs last year. They haven't hit one yet this year, but then again, they're only 12 games into the season.
right? I mean, I think once everybody's going to get home, everybody's going to get adjusted, and when conference play steps, both teams are going to step into the limelight and be ready to go.
You know, that's the big thing in the OAC is winning in your conference.
If you can prove you can win in arguably one of the best conferences in the nation, you're going to
Absolutely.
belong in the postseason and even in the championship game.
Exactly.
So,
So it's just a matter of getting to the conference play and advancing.
Right.
So we'll move on to men's lacrosse.
right.
You know, last year they had a great season at 12-3.
Yeah, they were absolutely dominant last year for the most part. I know their kryptonite last year was Otterbein. I mean, Otterbein won the OAC. Otterbein is an outstanding lacrosse team. Those
Absolutely.
kids, it's unreal watching them play. But even with us, I mean, this is a very dominant team. The guys were 5-0. I know they just lost last on the road to a new team from New York.
That's again tough when you play teams so far out of your area.
Yeah.
It's just hard to. You
I mean, yes, you
recognize
have to
them.
win on the road, but these guys are going to come in. They're going to get it done.
Exactly.
It's a lot of returning upperclassmen with that. They know how to play together. They've been together since the program even began here. So,
You know, just looking at averages for goals per game. Granted, it's early, only 6 games in, but they averaged 12.33 last year. They're averaging 13 this year.
I mean, they're scoring a lot. I know the New York game. Correct me if I'm wrong. What am I looking at? 11-8 might have been the final there.
I believe it was a couple goal
There's a
game.
couple goal difference. I mean, you can't even. Yes, you can be upset about a loss, but you still played hard.
13-11.
You still kept it close. Yeah, and then, I mean, 11 goals in a game, that'll win you
Most games.
Most games.
You know, that team just had great offense. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, looking at our games, 18-4, 7-6, 17-4.
Yeah, it's a dominant
12-3.
team that knows how to score.
Exactly. We're going to put points on the board. It's just a matter of stopping people.
As long, I think they'll win the OAC this year. You know, watching them play and knowing how the guys are on that team.
definitely
I think so.
can do that.
You're gonna have to
They're
be.
determined.
You're gonna have to beat Otterbein because
Yeah.
every year top team in there, and always the must win is Mount Union.
You know,
Whether,
you gotta beat
no
Mount.
matter how good Mount is that year or not, you got to beat Mount.
Exactly. Same with Carroll.
There you go. But yeah, I think they're going to come in. They're going to come in the conference play. They're going to keep up the scoring pace because they're scoring out of their minds right now.
Their shots per game, 45 shots.
That's
That's a lot of pressure to put the opposing goalie under.
yeah. I mean, and you're sneaking a lot of those through and scoring high games.
You know, they're almost 30% shooting.
There
That's,
you go.
That's pretty good.
So
You know, the women's just at their game last night, they got a big win, 15-5.
you were at that game, weren't you?
I was.
There you
It
go.
was good weather, actually. You know,
What was the final of that game?
it was 15-5.
Us, right?
Absolutely.
Oh wow.
So it was nice to see them dominate a game.
Yeah.
You know, the record's 8-6. Excuse me, that was the record last year. This year they're at 4-3. So they're on
winning.
track.
They're on pace.
They're averaging 14 goals this season.
Wow. What was it as opposed to what?
Last year they averaged 12.
There you go. So again, scoring the story of the two teams right now, coming into the spring, looking to keep that up. I mean, putting up 15 last night was unbelievable, and I heard even some of the goals were just outstanding.
Oh, the one, her stick fell out of her hands and still went in.
Oh man,
The crowd was
behind the
great.
back one too, wasn't there?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a Vuvuzela in the crowd. It was a great atmosphere.
Oh, it was always a great atmosphere for sports at BW.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's part of the reason I think we're on the rise here.
Yeah,
You know, people are buying into our sports,
exactly.
and we're getting bigger and bigger recruits. And you know, the spring is a gray area for sports because the weather in Ohio is
Right.
not great. People don't get out.
I wish I could count how many times baseball games and all these outdoor sports were canceled based on snow in March or snow in April. So,
It's ridiculous, and we've been blessed this year with this weather.
oh, this yes,
So I'm thinking the teams will get in a groove this year.
yeah.
They don't have to worry about, oh, we played Tuesday night. Oh, wait, now we don't. Now we play Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday instead of Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, and that's a great point to bring in with the rescheduling of games, having to accommodate other teams and making them run smoothly like that. But yeah, playing 2 games as opposed to 3 and 4, you're saving wear and tear on your players. You're taking that stuff into effect. So yeah, all the teams and with the scheduling and the weather and all that stuff being what it is this year, I can see everybody being real successful in their sport.
Yeah, it should be exciting spring. You know, we look forward to ending the semester. You know, before we wrap up here, I just want to say a couple thoughts and prayers out to Belgium, the
Yeah.
terrorist attacks this week. You know, it's an awful thing, tragedy,
It is.
and we're thinking about them. You know, support to them, and appreciate you guys listening again. I'm Nick Rizzo.
And I'm Alex Jones. This has been Varsity Jackets and the second episode of Jacket Talk. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, guys.